Okay, well, welcome and good morning, everyone. My name is Mary Ellen Cook, and I am filling in for chairperson today. So I'm excited to see everybody coming to the meeting, and welcome. So now I can't see the agenda.
Actually, the first thing is our presentation from our WIOA partner. And today we're going to have our own grants coordinator, Jordan LeBlanc, who's going to be doing a testimonial. So
yes, Jordan, welcome. And we look forward to hearing from you. Take it away, Jordan. Thank you.
All right. Well, thanks, folks. This kind of developed over the last couple of months because we've been talking about the impact that our grants programs have made, and it's really easy to get lost in the numbers of dollars spent and even discussions on return on investment. And I had met with one of my candidates a couple of months ago and was able to introduce her to Sylvie, and we felt it was really important to just highlight one of what we'd call our success stories to date. And so with her permission, Natasha Bebo wrote up a testimony. It wasn't super comfortable sharing this in a video, but asked me to forward a written testimony. I'll just kind of highlight some of the personal impacts that she's felt from our grant program. She is part of our National Dislocated Worker Grants that we are administering that is regarding opioid and substance abuse. And this is somebody that she is kind of in a lot of senses, the classic image that you might think of somebody that's been in and out of trouble, in and out of jail, struggling with sobriety on and off. But she came through the Champlain Valley Family Center Recovery Campus in 2020 and has made these distinct decisions to better herself. You know, there are so many times as somebody who's been impacted by family members who are struggling with opioid abuse, I know that it is something that you feel like you're trapped in, and this is very much her experience. You get into this cycle of getting out, getting clean, and then hitting a wall and falling back in. And Natasha has shared that something seemed to have changed during her time at the Albion Correctional Facility toward Buffalo, and she decided to re-enroll in school to get her associate's degree in human services with the certification for alcohol and substance abuse counseling, and really wants to make her experiences, as she put it, make her experiences mean something, to not just allow it looks like 10 years that she has struggled, or more, almost 20 years if you include all of her wrestling and struggling with substance abuse, to make it count for something. And so she has been enrolled since last year, working toward obtaining this certification so that she can help other people who are like her. She is a young mother. She has just really struggled and wants to be for somebody else what she wishes that she had for herself. So she has been sober, I believe, since last year entirely, and is on track to be able to complete her degree, I believe, by the end of next year. And so she is just so grateful that she has been able to develop this, to get into this program, and to really turn it around. Because from a personal perspective, I know just in my own experiences, directly and indirectly, that seeing the opportunity to get out of your own way and to make that next positive step is sometimes the hardest thing. And for people like Natasha and the various people that I've been able to even just add on my own caseload over the last few months, this continues to be that I need to make these changes so that I can get myself into a better place. And for some of these I keep calling them kids. But for each of these students, for these young people, that is so often that first step that they can see a better life. They can visualize something that is different and quantifiably better for them. So she's just an example. There's a long form one that we'll send out to everybody. But I just wanted to share a personal, I guess, anecdotal story of the impact that our grants have been able to have. And I know for her, for every Natasha, there are 4 or 5 other people that are in that same kind of boat, that they have struggled either directly with addiction, or they come from a family that has struggled with addiction, and they're trying to break the cycle that opioid and substance abuse has, not just on individual lives, but on families. So I just want to thank everybody that has been a part of this. I know many of you have either referred to us candidates, or have been a direct part of helping this get off the ground. So just thank you to all those who have been a part of this, and I'm sure that we will have many more opportunities to celebrate the successes of these students moving forward. That's it.
Thank you, Jordan. That was a great, getting more personal really helps us in the board see where the programs are going. So thank you.
Absolutely.
All right. So our next item is we'll call to order. Do I need I need a
Yes, you need a motion.
motion to
And
call
a
to order?
second.
Anybody motion to call the meeting to order?
Joey make a motion to call the meeting to order.
Thank
Mimi
you.
will second.
Thank you, Mimi. All right, the meeting has officially been called to order. I feel like I need a gavel, like in Toastmasters. All right, so we have the minutes from our September 17th, 2021 meeting. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes from last time?
I can make that motion.
Thank you, Debbie.
I'll
Joey,
second. This is Dale.
And Dale, thank you for seconding it. All right, so approved. Now we will have the financial report, and I will be giving that. So
Usually you'd have to vote just after the motions. We just have to call a vote.
Oh, thank you.
Sorry, you're welcome.
Thank you.
Thanks, Brian.
Thank you. We're moving right ahead. So let's all take a vote on the approval of the minutes. Everybody, all in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed, say nay. Motion passed. And thank you for that. The financial report, we're so excited about this. We just wanted to get right to it. So multiple people have been working super hard at really looking at the finances at the Workforce Development Board, coming up with better ways to do it. Sylvie's been taking the deep dive right into this for quite a while now. And Barb has been brought on to help organize the finances in a different way. So this is a brand new way of looking at what we've previously presented. And it looks a lot more complicated because there's a lot more numbers on there, but we think it will help tell the story a little better for the board. So that's, we're trying out this new way of presenting today. So we're going to start on the upper left, and we have our categories going down the left column. ACP is our administrative. We have adult, dislocated worker, dislocated worker to adult, those funds that we often transfer every year throughout the year. And we have a blanket motion that passed last time to do that. The in-school youth and the out-of-school youth. So the yellow section is all this year, fiscal year 21. And so before we used to just have how much percent we were to our goal. So this time we have percent, but we've also having it broken down by section. So the where it says North Country, that's the whole entire board, that column B and column C. And then we have Clinton, Essex, Franklin, and Hamilton right across. And then we have our other different ones, ETS, Courier, our grants. So those are all across. That way each section can see how they're doing, not only how the whole board, how North Country is doing, but how each section is doing. So I thought that would be tell more of the story. And the numbers are really more accurate as well, more up to date. So that's another thing. So we did get the second release of funds. So that's included in these numbers. And the spend to date, if you remember correctly, needs to be for next year. So we're not, these numbers don't have to be all spent down this year. It has to be for next year. So we'll start with the first one, and you can see that where it says divisible by 0, little looks like it's swearing at you, hashtag. That just means you can't divide by 0, and we have no funds in those categories. That's why that little symbol comes up. And any questions or anything on this? Down below in the green area is the same thing except for last year's fiscal year 20. That's what we're showing here. And you can see the numbers there. We're pretty close to where we should be for most everything. And then there's a little bit for 19 down below and 18. And when these get sent to you, you can, review them more closely than we are in the meeting and look at the numbers more closely and see how your county is doing wherever you work or are involved in. And like I said, we felt this would help everybody just have a better picture of where the funds were going, where we are spend wise. And just because something looks really low doesn't mean there isn't projects planned that will take those funds up. So, maybe it's showing 6% or 4%, but it doesn't mean there isn't a number of projects planned that will use that money going forward. Is there any questions on the budget?
Can I just add?
Michelle,
Yes.
Go ahead, Michelle.
not a question, just an observation. Thank you. This is quite extensive, and I appreciate the time and the work that went into preparing this. It's very comprehensive. Thank you.
Thanks, Michelle. I just also wanted to add to Mary Ellen's comments to the fact that we have not yet, this is basically brand new. We've been kind of playing with it in a way to make sure, because we will be presenting that to our service providers, because in the white spaces in each of the columns, that is the area where they will be entering their own information on a bi-monthly basis. This document will be shared through a Dropbox, and they will have access to basically up to the minute information. So whenever they make an update, it'll be live for everyone and us also to see. So so there'll be some input directly from our service providers into this document at one point. We're just kind of like trying it out to make sure that there's no room for errors in a way, so that we can minimize that as much as possible. And then they'll get a training on how to make sure that they enter their information in the right area. So I just wanted to add that to it. So it's going to be a comprehensive document. It's going to be a live document, and it will give everybody access to their numbers on an immediate basis, basically.
So, like I said, lots and lots of hard work to get to this point, and it's still a work in progress, but we're pretty excited about it and feel that it's going to give everybody a little more information and help everybody understand where the funds go and, you know, how we're doing with our programs. So if there's no more comments, do I have a motion to approve the budget?
I'll make that motion, Joey.
Thank you, Joey. Do I have a second?
I will
Sec-
second Michelle.
Michelle, thank you. And do we, I gotta think how to say it. All in favor of passing the budget, say aye.
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 Anybody who's not in favor, say nay. Budget passed. Thank you. Oh, I did forget, all abstain. Budget passed. I'll get the hang of this. Thank you. So next is our governance committee, John Bernardi.
He's not on, and actually, there was no activity from the governance committee. We are presently working on a new policy, and that will be presented at our January meeting for approval. So stay tuned on that one.
Okay. One Step Operator Committee, Alan.
All right, good morning, everyone. We do have a few things to talk about this morning. We had a meeting last week, and we'll start with the easy stuff. We are still working on our website. We need to send out an RFP for that process. We're hoping to get that done late this year, but early next year at the latest. So that's just an update there. The next thing that we did is we sent out an RFP for basically asking for some data for the North Country. We're trying to figure out what the employer demands are and what we should be training in and everything for the North Country. So we did send out an RFP for that, and we had a response. Someone came back at $60,000 based somewhere in that range, and now we're just looking at trying to get some funding. Correct me if I'm wrong, Sylvia, but I think we said you're going to look at the REDC to get some of that money.
Yes, so we're trying to see if maybe that would be a good fit for our RDC. And this is basically to identify and clean up our occupation, in-demand occupation list that we have listed with the Department of Labor, just to make sure it's still accurate. And especially given the pandemic situation, we want to identify also in the long term the type of positions that perhaps would be pandemic proof, so that we can really work with employers and target the training specifically to meet the demand. So that's what this document is. And on top of it, it would be the basis to then utilize it to build up on it and to have the, for us to also do a state of the workforce for the North Country. So unfortunately, as you know, most of our organization is funded through WIOA, and we cannot use these funds really for that, because then that would take away from servicing our customers. So we're trying to diverse on how, you know, we can get some funding to do these type of projects, which in my opinion really complement what we do and are very, very important, because if we can be driven by data, then we can make better decisions for the region. So that's where that is.
Perfect. Thanks, Sylvie. And then the last thing we have is, you know, we just want to let the board members know that for the last 20 months, there has been nobody servicing from the DOL in our North Country area. And, you know, the big topic of that discussion was the fact that not a majority, but a large percentage of people that come to visit our work center is for the DOL. And we did want to let everyone know that they are starting to open up centers. Ours is not one of them, but New York State is starting to open them up. So hopefully we can get somebody back in our center sooner than later.
Actually, I'm just going to make a little parenthesis on that, because Just to make sure, and Sherry, you can jump in at any time. Department of Labor has been servicing people, but virtually, either by phone or through the internet, but not in person, not meeting face to face with clients. And so what we're really excited, because there's a trial, there's 10 centers across the state that are in trial mode to welcome people back face to face. And we in our region are not one of them. And Sherry, you might want, I think, and I might be wrong on that, but Warren, Washington, I think, is the one in our immediate area that will be the trial site. So we're really excited because these are steps into the right directions. As Alan mentioned, we are seeing that the most people that are coming through our doors are to seek Department of Labor services. So unfortunately, what we have to do is really refer them back through the phone, through the internet and things like that. But hopefully in the near future, they will be able to meet with the staff here at the One WorkSource. Well, not just here in Plattsburgh, but across the region. So it's good news.
Hi, am I on mute?
No, you
Can
can't.
you hear
We hear
me?
you.
Okay, all right, I'm sorry. Yeah, so the Department of Labor just recently stopped working on the unemployment insurance piece. Just in the last couple of weeks, we've pulled the rest of our people off the unemployment. We have this whole time been working on what we call the RESIA program, because much of our money comes from that program. It's a reemployment program for people that are on unemployment that are required to look for work. And we have done all our appointments virtually. We have just started opening some offices, like Sylvie just said. There was one office picked for each region. One of our offices were not picked. The closest one for us is Messina. They picked 10. They were one of the 10. Unfortunately, out of that 10, the last I heard last week was only 5 of them were able to open because of for some reason or another. I'm not quite sure what it was yet. I think each office was different. So there is 5 offices open. They're very concerned that when we do open, that we will still have customers that may be a little bit disgruntled. They don't want to have any, issues in the offices. When we do open, it's going to be very controlled. The appointments are going to be very low. It will be one-on-one, by appointment only, just a few customers at a time. As far as the job seeker piece, if somebody comes into the center, they are able to speak to someone. We'll make appointments for them. We'll do all those appointments virtually. And we still have the county in the building that also works with job seekers. So if somebody is real adamant that they want an in-person appointment, I believe that Kathy's crew, pre-COVID, would meet with job seekers. I'm sure if somebody couldn't do it virtually by phone or video, that we could set something up there with her staff. It's coming. I feel like it's loosening up a little bit. It has been a long haul. Unfortunately, we would prefer to meet with people in person, but we've had a lot of unemployment that our staff have actually not been doing job seeking other than virtually. A lot of them, and basically all of them, for the last 12 months up until probably a couple months ago, were all doing nothing but unemployment and opening claims for people and helping them with issues, and those are starting to subside. So that's why we pulled everybody off UI. We are now all on job search. So hopefully, I just feel like it's loosening up. It's coming soon. I don't know when. We haven't gotten the go ahead. Obviously, it has to all come from Albany. They haven't gotten the go ahead from, the commissioner yet, but piece by piece, with 10 offices opening, it's certainly a sign that maybe by the first of the year, I don't know. I don't have a time frame, but we're still waiting on customers. It's just virtually at this point.
Thank you, Sherry.
You're welcome. If anybody has
Thank
any
you for that
questions.
clarification, Sherry. I knew you were meeting people. I just didn't come out right. That's all.
No,
I knew it was-
that That's fine. We are meeting with everyone and the employment counselor is packed every day, you know, working with the customers mostly that are coming. I want to, what I say is the ones that are coming off the street. They're not the ones that are mandated for unemployment insurance. They're just ones that are looking for employment or they're underemployed and want something different. The employment counselor is mostly working with them. We are backlogged on resumes. Everybody is, you know, now thinking, oh gosh, I have to get out and find that job, so I better spruce up my resume. So that is definitely a big chore right now with everybody.
Thank you. And that's all I have, unless anybody has any questions for me.
Thank you, Alan. Our next report is the Youth Committee report. Brian Post.
Hello, everybody. This is going to be fairly brief because we haven't been able to meet, but with Josh, you know, getting his footing with his new position, we've been able to set something on the calendar. So we have a youth committee meeting scheduled for the 30th of this month. So I'm excited to get the updates from our providers and see how things are going, you know, this school year. One thing I just want to say is to Sylvie, that report, that financial report is 100 times better. And it's nice to be able to see the details, especially from, you know, the youth standpoint, from my perspective and everything really. It's just a whole lot easier to read. I mean, it's a lot more information, but it's a whole lot easier to read. I really appreciate that. But I have had the pleasure of being on the calls with Germany, and I'm not going to steal any thunder from Sylvie, but it's an exciting opportunity, the STEM project across the ocean with our friends in Germany for local students in the New Visions program. And the hope is that this can expand into you know, another program that I'm hoping my students at Upward Bound can take part in this summer, you know, after the New Vision students get the pilot off the ground. So I'm going to just segue into, I think, Sylvie's report on that, and very exciting for youth in our area.
Well, thank you, Brian. Our next up is our Executive Director's report, Sylvie Nelson.
So thank you, Brian. And those of you that were able to read my email fully too, because it felt like it was a novel, as well as the director's report. What Brian alluded to is that thanks to some networking opportunities, well, 2 years ago, I know I repeat myself all the time, my kids hate it because they had wanted to come, but I had the opportunity to go to Germany, the Bonn Cologne area, to experience and learn about apprenticeship. And during that trip, we met a professor from the University of Siegen, which is outside that area, but not too far. And he reached out to one of my colleague and said that they had this authentic STEM project that they were doing with Michigan, but they wanted to also implement it in New York State. So she reached out to me and said, do you think the North Country would be interested? And I said, yeah, absolutely. And I was right, because we reached out to, I think I have like 14 partners on that, but reached out to like a bunch of people, and everyone basically jumped on it. And from September, when we were first approached, to mid-October, we decided that this was a project worthy, and everybody's coming to the table to making it happen. The first cohort's going to be in February. So basically what it is that they will be working in partnership with local companies on real world problems. So they will be solving problems that perhaps companies don't have time to solve. And they don't have to be proprietary information or anything like that. It could be, and some of the examples they shared is like creating an app to make sure that some garage doors were lined up properly so that it would be more efficient when they go and install them. Another project that the German students have worked on in the past is setting up proper lighting at firehouses, so that it's a little safer around the building. And so those are the type of things that the students have worked on, and that's what we want to bring here in cooperation with our own companies. And so it'll give the students really a real world opportunity. Plus, they'll be creating some links with Germany, because they will be working virtually through Zoom or a virtual platform to solve these problems. And one of the first cohort that was identified, because we want to keep it small, is the CVTech Mindvale New Vision Engineering Program. There's 4 students there, and they've been tapped to be our guinea pigs. And they've already met their part of their counterparts in Germany. We facilitated a Zoom meeting when the German students were interviewing, because they interviewed their companies, and the companies were interviewing the students to ensure it's a match. So it's a two-way street, and then they were able to meet some of the students, talk to them, ask questions. Anyway, so that in the bulk is the project. There might be even some cultural exchange coming out of this. Yeah, it's really, really exciting. And I know that there's a couple of people aside from Brian that are on the call that have been involved in this, but there's Michelle Friedman, Greg Hart, Russ Kenyon. We have the TDC involved. We've got NAMTrans involved. We're hoping to really, out of this, and I think it was in my report, is to come up with a toolkit. Again, we're looking for funding for that, to develop a toolkit so that we can share the knowledge and the project with other schools, not just internationally, but it could be, across the state. It could be within the same school district in a larger city. So we want to make that opportunity available to other people by creating the toolkit. So that's one of the things we're also working on as well. But yeah, isn't that cool? I don't know if anybody wants to share that have been involved, and I might be missing other committee members that are on this call, but IAM is on there too. Oh, go ahead, Michelle,
I
sorry.
just want to thank everybody for allowing us to be the guinea pigs, as you said. We are over the moon excited about this opportunity in our collaboration with our partners in constructing the New Visions program. We really wanted to stretch our imaginations and work beyond those normal boundaries, and how we could really provide some unique challenges for students prior to transitioning to a post-secondary engineering experience. And this project is just beyond anything that we ever thought possible. So we are super excited. We promise that we will do it right, so that we do right by all of your expectations. And just thank you for the opportunity and for the wonderful partnerships that we have around the room here to allow us to do it. I can't wait. So excited.
Thanks, Michelle. Anybody else? Okay, so we'll keep you posted, but so just so you know, I am taking my kids to Europe next week for Thanksgiving, and it turns out that there's a big meeting of the project, and I will be attending that meeting with their elected officials and some other key partners to try to fund the toolkit. So cross your fingers. I'm taking my kids and hopefully they'll do me some good there. But anyway, so it's really, it's even moving beyond that. So I'll keep you all posted on that. Moving on to another really, really cool project with Xometry. Xometry is a company that puts together machining jobs with machining shops. And they, of course, notice that we are in dire need of machinists. So they have approached us through Congresswoman Stefanik's office to see if we would be able to develop some kind of training to help develop more machinists to help meet the demand. And this is not just for New York State. They don't really care where the machinists end up, as long as there's more machinists to meet the job requirements. So We've pulled in the IAM, we've put in North Country, and gosh, I think NamTrans is also part of this, and CV Tech, FEH BOCES. So we're trying to see how this would work. And basically what Xometry would do is make a scholarship available through the North Country Workforce Partnership. So we could fund people interested in becoming machinists. And so we would utilize the same kind of ways of evaluating people to bring them into the program as we do with our WIOA funding. However, the people would not have to meet WIOA guidelines, so which is anybody who wants to become a machinist basically would be able to participate in this project. So we are waiting to see how that's going to move forward, but so far I think it's probably 90% a go. I know that we've reaching out to other BOCES in the state of New York who does have like machining type of, and I think the lathes and the presses, and I'm not really sure, but anyway, the technical equipment needed to do this training so that, you know, we could open it up to anybody in the state. So that will help alleviate the need for machinists, and then also hopefully provide some funding for some of our own individuals in the North Country to get into that field. So this is really, really good. And again, that's thanks to our relationship with our elected officials and really through our involvement at multi-levels through our networking that this has been possible. So it's really exciting. I'll keep you posted on the development on that. Do you have any questions on that one?
Can I just jump in for a second? I have a machinist who'd worked for me for 10 years here that came out of a program in Nebraska that was amazing, and it was a 2-year program. I'd be happy to connect him with the group that's working on that if they want an idea of what he went through. But he came out a very strong machinist and did a lot with us here. So I'd be happy to make that connection.
Thanks, Mimi. This is awesome. I made some notes to follow up with you. Perfect. Any other questions or comments? Okay, so moving down the line, we are continuing our efforts to identify some times to connect students with employers one-on-one. We're working with both CV Tech and FEH BOCES on this. We're also working with our colleges, and then the goal really is to get the students at all levels within our region to understand the type of opportunities that are existing presently, immediately, and also the type of career pathways that they can pursue with these employers, and then get them to understand the type of benefits that are being offered by the employers, so that they have an understanding of the good jobs and how they can stay here and make a good, a living wage and contribute to our community. So we're hopefully going to be doing this like probably a monthly basis up to about April and May, and then do it a little bit more often because that's it's getting close to graduation. So especially for students who are looking to enter the workplace, that would be a great way for them to hopefully connect with employers, and also for employers to connect with potential employees.
Well, Sylvie, this is Eugene Fox at Sylvamo. I was wondering, how do we get connected with that?
Actually, you're already on the list.
Oh,
We're
super.
Yeah, we're working with the schools to identify the dates, and then we will shop those dates around to the employers, because it does demand some organization because of the classroom situation, and
of course.
But yes, no, you're on our list.
Super.
You're on our
and
list.
If there's anything we can do to host things, we'd be happy to host things here at the mill, and we can do the social distancing. We've got strict rules about that too. And we also have access to a very large hotel room here, a conference room that allows for social distancing. So if that's something that you would be interested in, we'd be very happy to help with that.
I'll keep that in mind. At this point, we're looking at virtual with like
Okay.
video presentations just because of the travel situation. So then we
Of
can do
course.
more that way with the schools.
Mhm.
But that doesn't mean that it's not something that we can take a look at with maybe another project down the line or whatever. So I appreciate the mention of that, Eugene.
Super. And we will be shortly making a pretty exciting announcement about what's happening at our new company. And I've got you on that list to make sure you receive that information, and Michelle Friedman and others as well. So.
Well, thank you. So we're on each other's list. That's the most important thing, right?
Yep. Mhm.
Any
Exactly.
other questions on that or comments? No. And then the last thing is Manufacturing Day is we're participating. That's being led by ETS. It's been very, very successful in the past, even last year when we had to like scramble and rearrange the whole thing. And now we're moving forward again with IAM. I have not been involved in the day-to-day meetings, but I think there's like 300 students that will be going to IAM from the different school districts. And it's a really exciting way for us to get back to normal and to, again, get the students to understand the type of educational opportunities for credentials and career pathways and the type of employers that are in our region that for where they can go and work for. So Deb, I don't know if you want to add on to that. I'm putting you on the spot,
I'm
sorry.
also not involved in the day-to-day with that, but I did have a conversation with Amber last week. And as of that date, there were 8 companies that were going to be setting up workstations at the IAM that day. So that's pretty exciting. I'm not quite sure which employers, but we can find that out.
Deb,
Yeah.
how would I get in contact with someone to make sure Sylvamo is represented there? After 40 years, it's hard to get away from saying IP, so I'm not IP any longer.
Do you know what, Eugene? I can make that, don't worry about it. We can make
Okay.
that connection with Amber.
Okay.
So yeah.
Perfect.
So we'll take it from there, Eugene, and hopefully it's November 16th.
Okay.
I'm sure that there's room for more. So yeah, we will put you in contact with Amber.
Outstanding. Thank you.
So that's pretty much it. The other thing I want to add on is through our advocacy effort, we are going to do a community, let's get people back to work, virtual event to kind of identify the type of things that we can do as communities to help alleviate or to create a more robust pipeline into the childcare industry. That's going to be November 30th. And so invitations are going to come out from numerous areas throughout all of our partners that participate in the Stand Up for Childcare Adirondack group. And hopefully this is like we've developed like a solution, a plan to help alleviate that. And we want to present it to some of our community members or counties and towns. And part of the financing is tied to the American Rescue Plan. So, for the counties to be aware of how we could maximize some of the funding to really help alleviate the childcare, which is one of the biggest challenge right now that people have to get back to work. So we're working on that for the November 30th event. So stay tuned, you'll get the invitation, I'm sure. So, oh, Mary Ellen, can I just say something else about this Authentic STEM project? Because there's 2 professors from Germany that are coming to the North Country, December 15th through the 13th through the 15th. And we are in the process of like organizing visits and things like that. And Mimi, thank you so much for suggesting a visit on our way to the Mineville campus of General Composite. You are on my list. I'll be in touch with you, but we are also going to be organizing some breakfasts and lunches while they're here. And I would also like to have one specifically maybe with the board and, well, the two boards with the partnership boards as well, so that you guys can kind of hear it directly from them and have an opportunity to learn a little bit more about the project directly. So I'm not sure exactly when, but I wanted to give you an idea of the dates so that you can kind of hopefully, if it's possible, keep yourself free for that. And then we'll send you the details when that happens. So I wanted to make sure that you knew that. Homework. Thanks,
you.
Mary Ellen. That's pretty much it.
Thank you, Sylvie. Our next item on the agenda is other business and networking. So I did want to mention, I think for many businesses in the area, I know the business I'm involved with the casino, the border opening on Monday is a big deal. It's we didn't expect to have huge amounts, but just seeing some people venturing out and coming across the border. And based on our Facebook page, the biggest hurdle is the cost of testing. Especially you think about somebody trying to go to the casino, you already had to spend $250 just to get your test. Well, there's a hunk of your gambling budget right there. Or shopping or whatever else you're going to do. So, and I want to thank Gary for all the work you've been doing on getting the border going. That's going to help the whole area with jobs. So hopefully, I'm hoping that they'll come to something, either reduce price testing, go to be able to do rapid testing, do something to alleviate that burden and cost as we go forward, so our Canadian guests can come over here and visit the great North Country and shop and buy things and gamble. So I think that's probably been big in the news, and that affects all of us. Anybody have anything else they'd like to add?
I do, Mary Ellen. Hi. Actually, I was going to email Sylvie this week and I haven't had a chance, so I just want to mention it. I think this is similar to what the child care initiative is, but I was approached by Greg Olson, who I know well. He's the State Office for the Aging Director, and he's been presenting at some WIB board meetings, around the state, and he wanted to know if I had any connection to talk, and I said yes, I'm on the regional WIB. So he'd like at some point, over the next few months, if possible, be able to do a short presentation, either in person or virtually, to our WIB. And I believe they're doing some initiatives basically addressing the workforce shortage effect on the senior population, similar to the other spectrum, the children, and they've got some initiatives going. He said it was, the couple of other WIBs that he's spoken with have been very appreciative of the presentation. So I was wondering if you'd be interested, and what I could do is just email him and kind of connect you guys by email. Yeah, I told him you were very, very busy right now with all that's going on, some very important stuff, but he just wanted to get on our radar and for the North Country, because we certainly have a real issue with, workforce shortage issues affecting the senior population.
No, Becky, anytime, just put him in touch and we will put, we can have him at our January meeting if it's a convenient date for him, or in another meeting.
Okay, thank you.
Definitely, yes.
Yeah.
No, and you know what? You have a very good point. We forget, we always think of the kids, but it's also the aging parents as well. That's, very, very problematic and time consuming and so on. And so, yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
So thanks for putting that on my radar.
Okay, sure, thanks.
Anybody else?
Hey, Mary Ellen, this is Dale. I've been steeped in the whole COVID testing world because our BOCES is running the school-based grant for all of the Franklin County schools. Just for our Canadian friends, I know the number $250 has been thrown out there quite a bit, but I know for a fact that our Mountain Medical Urgent Care right here in Malone, and some of our pharmacies, when they have availability, do have the rapid molecular testing machines. And that is an acceptable test to the Canadian government, in addition to what the traditional PCR. And I actually had to bring my child to get a rapid molecular test at Mountain Medical, and it was $150. So that's at least less than $250. It still doesn't solve the issue, but I did want, because people hear the word rapid and they get confused. There's rapid antigen tests, but there's also rapid nucleic acid amplification tests, and those rapid tests are acceptable. So just wanted to get that word out there for what it's worth.
Thank you. I have heard the rumor, and I don't know if it's true or not, that we've had people being charged different prices on the state side. If you're Canadian, they got charged more. If you're American, you get charged less. So something I'm going to be looking into. So we want to try and, on our where I work, we want to try and pass on some information like you just shared with our guests, so that they can make decisions and hopefully come visit all the wonderful businesses in the North Country.
Gary Douglas here, if I could. We're starting to see the groundswell we need to see in Canada. That's where the advocacy needs to come, contacting members of parliament saying, wait a minute, I thought I was finally going to be able to visit grandmother and it's going to cost me $150. You know, are you crazy? The Americans aren't doing this. They obviously have assessed this and decided it's not necessary for the vaccinated. So we need to encourage Canadians to do that. The FCCQ, which is the Quebec Chamber of Commerce, joined with us in a statement yesterday calling for abandonment of the testing requirement for vaccinated border crossing. The Canadian Chamber of Commerce has spoken out very strongly. The Travel and Tourism Roundtable in Canada, which is a consortium of all the tourism groups across Canada, has come out very strongly. I think the focus needs to be on advocacy, not to get caught into the web of talking about this test versus that test. They're not going to come down in any numbers as long as there's any test requirement, because it's a cost, it's a complication, it's a concern. So we need to message in a way that says the US has assessed this, follow the science. The science says there's not sufficient justification for a test requirement for the vaccinated. That's already been shown by the Canadians in terms of the number of positive cases that have happened with the essential travelers and others that they've been testing. It's not justified. Mirror the American policy. And in any contacts that anybody has with Canadians, they're contacting you, they're down here, whatever the case is, encourage them to contact their member of parliament. That's the best thing we can be doing at this point.
Thank you, Gary.
Hello. Yes, John Cole from Clinton Community College. Just wanted to share a couple of outcomes for some really nice activities we had recently. Just 2 days ago, we had our Junior Experience Day for our next cohort of New Visions and Applied Engineering students. We had probably total of around 30 students on campus at the IAM, spent a day, and it was simply amazing to see these students from different schools form teams. Teams were formed. They worked with students, young people they had never met before, and came up with some excellent outcomes on their projects. So it was a fantastic activity. It was wonderful to have the sounds and the sight of people busy in the IAM, young people. And I would certainly want to extend my sincere appreciation to all my fine colleagues at CV Tech for pulling this together and working closely with us, and also North Country Community College, which is a third partner in this endeavor. So it was a great event, and we look forward to doing another one in the late winter or early winter. And then second, I had the privilege of signing a dual admission agreement with SUNY Plattsburgh. And this is now a pathway for students who want to start at Clinton. The moment they start at Clinton, they can indicate by checking off on an application that they wish to continue at SUNY Plattsburgh. And as the president of SUNY Plattsburgh said, one day there'll be a cougar, next day there'll be a cardinal, without any kind of application or hindrances for that student's progress. So this is a real fine outcome, and it was a real strong collaboration between our colleges.
Thank you, John. That's excellent news.
You're welcome.
Anyone else?
A quick thing, this is Eugene at Sylvamo. For those who don't know, the paper mill in Ticonderoga is now a part of a new company called Sylvamo. Sylvamo means love of the forest. It's sort of a hybrid Latin word that means love of the forest. We formally became a part of Sylvamo on October 1st. And if you were to drive down Shore Airport Road where we're located, you'd see the new sign and the new placard that shows us now as Sylvamo. We're excited about it. We're a much smaller company, more focused on manufacturing commercial printing papers, which is a paper that we make. We've always made. Now we are a part of a group of 7 mills throughout the world, 2 in the United States and 5 outside the United States that manufacture paper. So after over 100 years of being international paper here in Ticonderoga, we are now Sylvamo in Ticonderoga. So I just wanted to get that out there. We will be making some pretty exciting announcements, hopefully in the next week or so. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Eugene. Anyone else? Do I have a motion?
Wait, hang on.
Okay.
If you guys have anything that you would like to share with us for our newsletter, feel free to send it to Gabrielle because we're always looking for material to make it worthy for you to open it up and read it. So I'll just say that that's it. Thanks.
Thanks, Sylvie. Do I have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
So moved.
Joey, thank you.
Email second.
Mimi, second. Thank you. Do I have to vote on this one?
Yes.
Okay. All in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed, say nay. Abstain. Meeting adjourned. Thank you.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you. Thanks, Mary Ellen.
Bye.